There you go. Perfect. Perfect. So, Vikram, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for talking to me.
Thanks for being here on the show. Thanks so much. So, before we start, I have to give you an epic welcome. So, you know what I'm talking about. So
Let's
that's
do
the
it.
spirit. So here we go. There you go. At
That's
some
beautiful.
point I'm gonna have like a live audience. That would be cool at some point.
I can feel the chills up my spine, man. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Now starting with the whole interview. Tell me how your passion for acting and writing started.
It's been there for a really, really long time. When I was like 6 years old, my parents put me in community theater for the first time. It took me a couple of years to get my first line, but it was a very big deal for me. I've always done like musical theater and been performing a lot, but it's only the last and I've always been a big writer. Writing has been pivotal to my life since I was like 5 years old. Just been trying to write as much as I can. I was a journalism student before. So that's actually how I started before acting. I was a news anchor and a print journalist for a while. And then in high school, I had this publication called the Daily Urinal, which was like a 200-word piece that would go above the urinals of this really funny thing. And it became this really big newspaper. And that was my first foray into consistently creative writing. So writing and acting have always been a really big part of my life. But the last about 5 or 6 years ago, was the first time I had that kind of realization that, hey, we're on this rock once. I got to give my real passion a real shot at a career. So it was the first time I ever thought it could actually be a career or something worth giving a chance at, because I was just so miserable, I guess, in everything else I was doing. And I was like, why do I keep ignoring this acting bug that's been so loud my whole life? So about 6 years ago, I started taking classes, started doing lots of stand-up and theater consistently, treating it as like a job, getting signed and all that kind of stuff. And so for about I'd say I've been an actor for about 5 years now.
There you go. Yeah, it is interesting, right? That whenever you will feel that whatever you're doing, you feel that it just don't click, right? And then instantly you get this message why don't you do what makes you happy,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was one of those ones where I had to take the jump, and I'm glad I did. It's been, even the lows have been amazing since then.
There you go. Yeah. And then in 2017 you were in opening night, and in 2018 in Brentwood. So tell me about the characters you performed in those films.
Yeah, especially when you're starting out as an actor, my advice is just to say yes to everything and to do all these do as many projects as you can. I've been really lucky to meet some really amazing directors and writers through my own acting and improv groups. And that's how I did those two projects. So opening night was written and directed by John Mishner. He's a really funny guy I met at UCB while we were doing improv together, and he played like a mouse having a nervous breakdown during a theater show.
Yeah.
And played one of the theater guests who was kind of reacting to that. And it was a really beautifully filmed short in a theater. And it was it's awesome whenever you get to work with really nice people who do care about the work a lot, that was a great first experience there. And then Brentwood is directed by Sharon Everett. Now, Sharon is an amazing director. She hosts me and my friends for me and my actor friends, whenever we want to hang out and stuff like that. She's been really kind to us. You should check out her work. She's won a bunch of awards and does a lot of big shows and stuff like that. And so she came up with this amazing musical, this comedy musical about Brent Spiner, who's one of the stars of Star Trek, alongside LeVar Burton, and how Brent Spiner is having this breakdown as an older star, and LeVar Burton was just driving him crazy. And me and all my friends got to be background characters and have these fun little lines and stuff like that.
Cool.
I played Brent Spiner's neighbor who keeps putting dog poop in his yard, and so that was a really, really funny role that I was that Sharon brought me on for. It was an amazing start.
Yeah, absolutely. How cool. And tell me how you usually prepare to play a character.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're playing a character, for me, what I like to do is, my first thing is after reading the script is I try to conceptualize what makes that character unique or unusual. And what is the thing that defines them? Like, is this character, and I want to get it to as like simple of a word or an action as possible. It's like, are they really ambitious, or is this character obsessed with basketball? And then I keep asking myself why they do that unique thing, or why they're obsessed with that thing, until I get to what they really want. So maybe that character wants to win a basketball game, but I'll keep asking myself why until I figure out, oh, this character wants to make their dad proud. And then I realize that everything this character is doing is to make their dad proud, so that I'll revisit the entire script with that intention in mind. And then every line I say in every single scene is in some way about getting my father's affection, right? And so that's kind of the start. But yeah, examine what makes them unique and just keep asking why until I get to a place it's like, oh, that's exactly what this character's about.
That's cool. And what were some of the challenges that you had when you first started in the whole acting industry?
I'd say the biggest challenge I had was kind of just getting in my own head. I mean, I think there's a real, like, especially as a writer, you do a lot of thinking, and you kind of break things down from every angle and every decision. Thank you, Indian Teddy Bear. I got a fan in the chat. What's up, Shri? Every decision that your characters make is like a Rubik's Cube, but it influences everything else. And in acting, I think at some level you have to be very present in the moment, and you have to let that go. So I had to do improv classes and for about like 6 months to really kind of wrap myself around that muscle of like, just don't edit yourself while you're acting. Especially as a new actor, I think when you do anything creative, your taste is going to be all the way over here, and your talent is going to be all the way over here. And you have to accept that when you do anything creative. And I accepted that. But when I was on stage, I could feel myself editing myself while I'm acting. And that's such a bad thing to do. You're never present or honest in the moment when you do a scene that way. So I think just being present was like a tough thing at first, because I wanted to be such a good actor that like I was just being so critical a lot. But the moment I started letting that go, the moment I kind of like, started doing what I do in stand-up and in improv more and just kind of being myself, I was able to be coached better, and acting just really kind of opened itself up after that.
That's cool, man. And tell me, what's the goal that you try to achieve, like in every performance that you do? I mean, what do you want the audience to, what's the word, like, to react about each performance that you do?
Yeah, I think it's an actor's job to walk 1,000 miles in every character's shoe. So that way, when an audience sees that, they leave the theater having empathized and lived that person's life, that character you're playing. And so that if someone else whose life is like that character sees it, they're reminded that they're actually not alone in the world, and that their experience is actually something worth being listened to and heard about. Yeah. So as an actor, I strive for the ultimate level of honesty. You can never judge your characters. If you're playing, you could be playing someone who's racist, you could be playing someone who's a murderer, you could be playing the worst people in the world. And you got to figure out, why does that character believe the things they do? And why does that character think that they're the hero of their own journey? So my ultimate goal is maximum level of honesty, and I get there through as much empathy and understanding as I can.
That's very honest. That's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
And now on YouTube, so on the YouTube channel from Preacher Lawson, there's a video called New Friends pilot. So tell me where the idea to create that pilot came from.
Oh man, okay, yeah. So everyone watching this, go check out Preacher Lawson. He's like a really big comedian. He was in the finals of America's Got Talent, I think last year, the year before actually.
Cool.
And amazing guy. He when he moved out to LA, I was one of his new friends. I was one of his first friends out in LA. Me, him, and this amazing actor and comedian named Sean Clay. Go check out that guy's work too. And we came up with this really funny idea about this pilot for like me putting out an ad, because I need 2 roommates, and I get these 2 wacko roommates who show up, played by Boston and Sean Clay. And we filmed 1 episode, we kind of lost a little bit of steam, and then recently, like several months ago, Preacher brought that out from the dead and reposted that, and we actually realized that there were some funny things there that we were doing. We were just like being idiots about it, and it actually inspired me to like rewrite that pilot and come up with more episodes. So, you know, that's a conversation that, you know, we'll have going forward. But, you know, it was a really, really fun time. And one thing I'm sure I'll say again throughout this interview is, if you get a chance to work with your friends, do it. That's what this industry is all about. And I think that's what we were trying to capture in that little pilot that we made, that even if things aren't perfect, we just have the best time hanging out with each other. And that's kind of the magic of all this. Yeah,
absolutely. That's cool. And what do you think is the key for a good comedy?
For a good what? Sorry?
For a good comedy.
For a good comedy. Well, we've been talking so far about honesty, you know, as far as acting is concerned. I think it's that plus originality. So I think, you know, you hear people say comedy is tragedy plus timing. There's this comedian named Michelle Wolf, and she learned this from another comedian, but she mentioned that comedy is actually honesty plus originality. And I super agree with that. Whenever I do a set and it's very bad, it's not funny, it's because it's very like rehearsed, and it feels like very like I'm trying to be someone or tell a joke that's just clearly not me. Yeah. And will know when they're being lied to immediately. So you really have to say, what is something that Vikram believes in very passionately that makes me either very angry or very happy? And what is the most Vikram way to say that? And I think if you can achieve that, however you achieve that, there's a million different ways to do that. But I think if the end goal is honesty and originality, you've got a really good bit on your hands. You've got a really good set on your hands.
Absolutely. Now, you also do stand-up comedy. So tell me how you usually prepare before going on stage.
I try not to think a lot. Like, I try to do all my preparation, like leading up. If I have a big show on Friday, I'll do a lot of mics like leading up to that show, and I'll do even some smaller shows leading up until that. But then the day of the big show, I won't really think about my set at all, as best I can. I'm seeing some funny suggestions in our chat right now, and I try to relax, because whenever I inevitably will have like other ideas in the back of my head that will surface like the day of the show, and I'm writing up until like the moment I get until I perform. There's like a bit that I'm usually kind of wrestling with, and that's usually fun for me to have like one new bit on the show. Kind of keeps me excited as a performer, because I've rehearsed everything so much until then. But besides that, I just try to let things go on the day of. I try to like just hang out with my friends, grab a drink or two. I hang out with I Like Mayonnaise, who's in this chat right now, and you know, that kind of stuff. And so, just really to kind of get in my headspace, because I think when I'm on stage, if I'm like loose, natural in the moment, and I'm present, even if I mess up a bit, I'm still going to be in a situation where it's working out really well and I'm in full control of the set. If I do something where I'm like really worried about my set up until I go on and I'm just like rehearsing this bit and trying to memorize these words, I'm just asking for disaster. And I've done that a million times. So I think for my good shows, preparing and then letting things go and trusting it'll work out.
There you go. And what are some of the best memories you had at the moment while doing stand-up comedy?
Whenever shows work out for me, it's the best feeling in the world. This kind of adrenaline you get that's like, I've never felt that before. I sometimes actually have to run outside of the club. Like because there's just too much pump. I cannot exaggerate. There's too much in my veins. I'd say the one moment that I don't think I'll ever forget was I filmed this movie called Kind of Magic about me as a magician, and it culminated like me perform, and I deleted it, so hopefully you don't know about this movie. It's so bad. But it was supposed to be a 10-minute movie, and it was like 35 minutes, and it was like 90 minutes on the editing bay. We're like, oh shit. But anyways, this movie, it was really fun though, because it culminated in a live magic performance, and I'd never done magic before. Cool. And so there's this one trick called the Kung Fu card trick, where the guest chooses a card. I put it in the deck, and then I kick the deck, and I kick the cards everywhere, and I catch their card in between my toes that they chose. And it's a really difficult trick, and leading up into the performance, it was only working about 40% of the time. I know that because I filmed it 100 times and only worked 40 of those times. And I was a little worried, because like, man, this whole show, this whole movie, like nothing's going to work out if this trick doesn't work out. And not only did it it worked out beautifully, and it astonished me, like when I was like on stage, and you can see in the movie me being like, oh wow, oh my god, and it's completely me breaking character and just being so shocked that it worked out. And it was one of my best shows ever. It was like a 5-minute set. I performed for like close to 20 minutes. It was too, but you know, like they let me go on because like the audience was just eating it up, and all of my jokes were just landing really hard. And so I remember after that, I ran outside of the club like 2 or 3 times. I think I called like a couple of my friends just to say hi, not to even talk, just to get the energy out of myself. Hey, how you doing? You doing well? Okay, great.
Yeah.
I know. So yeah, that was it. You know, all that preparation and just like trusting that the universe is going to have my back, and it did that night. You know, so it was really good. It was my first ever like, wow, that show really worked. That was fantastic.
So awesome. But yeah, that energy you are talking about, it's like you feel that you can run like coast to coast, like no problem.
Yeah.
Let's do it right now. Yeah, it's amazing. You feel it like indestructible, in other words.
Absolutely. Yeah. And consequently, the lows are just as low, though. I think Robin Williams described it like that. He kind of describes it like cocaine, where like the highs will be so high and the crash is so bad, where like once you lose that moment, it passes. That moment goes away of how awesome that is, and you want to keep chasing that, you know. So you'll go through like 5, 10, sometimes 15 nights in a row without that moment, and each night that you don't get that moment becomes like infinitely longer than the night before. And so it's one of those things to always have that perspective on, like even though it's like you feel like a bunch of rainbows are blowing up in your head and you can do backflips, that like, hey, there's going to be 20 shows that may not be as good, and it is something, I don't know, I think it's important to conceptualize and realize.
Yeah, absolutely. How cool is that? And now you also have written plays such as One of a Kind and The Coronation. Tell me about those plays, and what was your inspiration to write them?
Okay. Well, we'll start with The Coronation. So there's this amazing actress out there, one of my really good friends. Her name is Valentina. I believe you guys know each other from a previous interview. And she brought me into this theater company called Theater 68 in North Hollywood. It's a really, really cool spot for new actors in LA to find a beautiful home. So we did these one acts where we got to do like these like short plays. I think like 6 short plays like in each night. And the first night we did this play called Pillow Talk, which were all themes had to be centered around the title Pillow Talk. And I did this play called The Coronation. Now, if you were at this night, you had a wonderful time for those first 5 short plays. And then you saw mine at the end, The Coronation. And I don't think you had as good of a time. So this was like a real, like my first, like I'm writing something, I'm directing it, and I'm starring in it. And so you really have to know what you're doing, I think, when you're doing that. And there's a tremendous amount of like, hey, I'm spraying the crowd with my ego and when you pull a move like that. So you have to be self-aware that like, hey man, if you mess up, you're really messing up. You got no one to blame yourself. And so it was a real kick in the teeth, but one of the best kicks in the teeth I could have ever asked for, which is like when I could feel live when we're doing that play how garbage it was. And I was like, oh man, never again. Like as long as there's blood pumping in my veins, I will never let a moment like this ever happen again. And sure enough, the next play we did, One of a Kind, was like a short play I wrote about these, the theme is called Take a Hike. So I wrote a play about these sperm cells trying to find an egg. And I made it kind of like Saving Private Ryan, but about these sperm cells who were so desperate to find this egg they couldn't get over.
Okay.
And man, we had a blast. There was lightsabers. There was one lightsaber. It was mine. I did a very long lightsaber fight that no one asked for. There was like lasers. There was a lot of like disco music and stuff like that. And I really got to lean into. I was just more fearless, I guess, the second time around. And really proud of that short play that we did. Molly, who was a really good friend of mine, she was in it as well. And Valentina really made that whole show just come to life. And so with their help, I was able to like put together something I was like so proud of, and it would have not have happened if I didn't get my ass kicked with The Coronation. And there's a user commenting that I was in my underwear, which was true. I forgot my pants at home, and we were going live like in like an hour, and I didn't have time to go get my pants. And I just thought it'd be funny if my character was just completely naked underneath his robe. And so I did the whole play in my underwear.
That's cool. I mean, plus he was comfortable.
Yeah, you know, and I also thought it would be a good move for, like, you know, the cast, if they were to see me like that, it could be like good for their energy and stuff on the stage. And I think
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's really cool. Wow. By the way, shout out to Molly and Valentina, which I see that they're a huge shout out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the best. My sisters. Yeah.
Now, you also made a short film called Turn Up the Light, which it is also made by your production company called Cloud City Productions. So tell me also about that short film and what can we expect to see in that film, and also tell me about your production company. Like, what made you want to create like your own company?
Oh yeah, so Turn Off the Light. This is the first movie of my production company. As you kind of talked about, I've had a wonderful experience of like making a lot of like short, small things in the past. But the last like 2 years, I felt like fully equipped where like I feel like the talent level of what I can do and with the people I know is finally kind of matching where my taste might be, you know, and I'm finally like I feel okay to put stuff out there now. And so this is the first piece of that. It's called Turn Off the Light. It's a horror movie. Everything I make is generally comedy, but it's straight up just a horror movie. It's a short movie. Molly was the production designer on that. It was really, really fun. I'd say it's probably the 3 most rewarding days I've ever had in this industry.
That's so awesome.
It was 3 overnight shoots back to back, which is very tiring for our cast, but everyone had so much passion for the whole thing. I don't know. I don't think we really felt that tired. I mean, we were tired, but it was like in a bad way at all. You know, it was like, it was very contagious excitement the entire time. And it was just really great to see like so many actors come out on audition for my script and bring it to life, you know, something I put a lot of time into. I made like, I think like 16 drafts of this very short thing. I was just so picky about these things, and they were also patient about it, and they all really committed. It stars Alejandra Rodriguez, who's an amazing actress from Mexico, and she is one of my really good friends out here. And she plays the lead vampire. It's about vampires.
Okay.
It's also starring Justine Liza and Joshua Bishop, who are amazing actors as well. And so, I play a priest in there who kind of confronts these vampires. It's shot in black and white. It was shot by this guy named Walker Edelman, who is one of the best DPs I've ever worked with. Yeah. And I'm lucky enough to call this guy my friend now. So he just made the whole thing look really beautiful, and I'm excited about it. It deals with a lot of themes though that are relevant to everything we're going to be making with this company called Cloud City Productions. Cloud City Productions, it's in reference to, I don't know if you've seen Star Wars, but Lando Calrissian, the coolest guy in the galaxy, lives in this place called Cloud City. And he calls himself the mayor of Cloud City. And I'm like, man, that's a job title I want to fill out on my tax forms. I'm the mayor of Cloud City. That's so dope. Yeah. So that's the way it came, the title of it. And I think one thing I like to pride myself on is that like all the work that I'm going to be doing in this company is all going to be just like really original stuff. Like you know, I'm a huge champion of original work, even if I don't agree with it. Like I love Fast and Furious because those are like original stories.
Yeah.
No one told those guys to do that. They came up with that in their own head. So hey, it's hilarious. But like I live for that, and that's what Cloud City's production is about. There's 3 or 4 stories which mean a lot to my heart, which I want to tell in like an infinite amount of ways. And I think Cloud City Productions is a really good way to explore that, generally through the genre of dark comedy. Lots and lots and lots of dark comedies that I've got coming out. And this is the first one. I like to think all the movies exist in the same universe. And Turn Off the Light is just kind of the very beginning of that universe, and we'll see where it goes.
That's so cool. So by the end, you will making like your own cinematic universe.
Everything. You know, theory that like Tarantino, all of his movies exist in the same universe, and I think that's so cool. When I was watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Leonardo DiCaprio goes to work for some spaghetti western director named Antonio Margheriti. And if you go to like Inglourious Bastards, when those American soldiers had to pretend like they spoke Italian, one of the names the guys said was, "My name is Antonio Margheriti," which was right, and that was the filmmaker that Tarantino was referencing in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Italian filmmaker. And so I just love that. I think that stuff is really, really cool. And I've spent the last, like, I think 4 to 5 years now mapping out this universe. And this is and it's all tied together. It's all mapped out pretty intricately. And this is just like that first little domino. So it's really exciting.
That's so awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Like that idea, it's great. Like having the chance to like create like your own universe with like between like each film that you will be doing here and there. That's cool.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And tell me, what are some of the things that that motivate you, that keeps you like, you know, like going each day to be like wanted to have more and more and more? Like what are basically what drives you?
I think to put it simply, 2 things. 1, the people you meet in this industry, and 2, the person you become because of this industry.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, obviously, you know, the rumors that people who aren't involved in Hollywood hear about people being really superficial and narcissistic, it's super true. That's like, I think a majority of like why people come out to Hollywood, but that's not everyone you meet. And like, if you really put yourself in positions to like work with people who are like passionate and disciplined about what they do, you end up meeting like just the most authentic, awesome people in the world.
Yeah.
But when you're making something together, another actor said this, that, you know, for a good movie to be good, everything has to go good. For it to be bad, one thing has to go bad. And there's that, and when you're working with the right people, they all believe in that. And so everyone's not just committed to their own job, but they're committed to like all the other jobs on the set that they can. And they're committed to like this whole story. And and they do it because they love it. Like I said, you want to make money, there's so many easier things to do with your life than going into film. These people choose to like not have health insurance. They choose to like, you know, go through like these crazy they've got to overcome because they love this so much. And I think that genuine passion is really contagious, and you just meet really interesting people that way. Like this movie Turn Off the Light I work with the best people, and who, like I said, we've all become friends now because of it. So I think that people is one thing, and also the things you learn from it. One of the things we talked about was, as an actor, your job is to walk 1,000 miles in someone else's shoe. So by the very nature of your job, if you're doing it correctly, every single day you become more empathetic. And in the world we live in right now, where if you believe in one thing, or if you believe in that thing, or if you like this tweet, or if you follow this person, it almost defines who you are to everyone else. If you're doing your job right as an actor, you say, no, that's all bullshit. Like, people are complicated, and you need to understand that, and you need to appreciate that, no matter who you are. And I find that to be really refreshing. I know not all actors believe that, but this is just what I get out of the industry and why I love it so much. So yeah, the people and just the muscle that it builds. Like, I have absolutely become the best person I could have become because of acting, directing, and writing with just amazing, authentic people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was deep, by the way, but yeah, it is. No, it is true. I mean, I think that especially this past few years, I mean, taking aside the whole Corona stuff, but yeah, I do believe the same, that we do live in a world that even if you like something online, or you would put a like on a tweet, or a like on a YouTube video, or a comment, or whatever,
yeah,
you will have like this huge group of people that is gonna be like, oh, that person is like that, and they will pretty much they would brand you like you're that type of person, period. That's it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've been discovering is that, well, maybe you like that thing, but that doesn't mean that you're like that. You know what I mean? That there's like this, as you said, human beings are super complicated.
Yeah. It's that we all get got. You know, we all do things, we all believe in things that other people might oppose to because of the way we were raised, or our own convenience. I've told this to some people in the past that, like, I'll go on record in saying this to anybody, I don't like slavery. I don't like it. But I still get Nike shoes. I still order from Amazon every now and then, right? And so, you know, should that define, I don't know, like, just people will make decisions. And so when I meet people who will believe in something or say something that just like is totally crazy to me, I try to like approach it like an actor would and be like, okay, well, why does that person think that crazy thing
exactly.
I think that crazy thing is correct? And you know, it's not saying I don't, it takes me a lot to, I don't like change who I am and agree with other people, but when you can see how they're thinking, you realize that I don't know, I find through acting, you realize what they're chasing isn't what they're saying. You realize that they might be very loud and upset or happy about this thing, but what they really want is to be respected. What they really want is to be valued, or what they really want is to have some sort of control over their life. And so you end up realizing that we're a lot more common, different that way. And I think that's just the best part of acting. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, true. And also, maybe they are just searching for acceptance, you know?
1,000%. And it's a really, that's the most beautiful part. I think if you do your job right in acting, I think you learn that very quickly.
Absolutely, that's really cool, huh? Wow. Yeah. On my case, I mean, I'm not an actor at all, but I've been discovering that a little bit. I'm a DJ, so, and to be honest, I do love, like, whenever I'm performing, to see people reaction, like how their faces are are going up. I mean, I love to do that, and every now and then, I would be just like watching someone having a good time. I'm like, yes, that person is that. I will focus on like a group of people that are having a good time, you know.
And so types of people standing side by side, and if you turned off that music, and if you were asked those people to talk to each other, they might have tons of differences that have nothing in common. But when that music's on, when they're all just being themselves and not thinking about those things that we think might define somebody, none of that matters. And there's this like kind of communal like love for what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we are. I mean, I see like the whole world as kind of a community here, you know. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the day, I mean, we all have different professions, goals, passions, dreams, whatever. But but why not kind of support each other? You know what I mean? Why not like being like that extra hand and just do our best, you know. But at the end of the day, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But tell me, if you could describe your career at the moment, how would you do it?
The crescendo. I think that's how I would describe it.
Okay.
That like I've been on the tarmac for a while. I've been on a plane. It's been on the now. I feel like the plane is taking off, and it's not about how much money I'm making or the kinds of roles I'm booking and that kind of stuff. It's just about that feeling I have inside when I'm done performing and when I'm done making something. It's just getting more and more assured of like, okay, yeah, no, this was a good bet. This whole acting thing was a good idea. Good job. And like, so I think right now it's just like with the formation of this production company, with how I feel about my performances and with how I feel where my stand-up and stuff is headed. I feel like right now it's like a flower that's just kind of opening up right now. It's the blossoming, the crescendoing, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's preach for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. And my last question here, like any advice you could give to upcoming actors or even people who are just starting, you know, like chasing the dreams, following, like what could you say to them?
Be honest to yourself about why you're doing this, you know, be really honest to yourself. You know how we were talking about the beginning, like examine something unusual, keep asking why till you get to that want. I say do that for yourself. I think like my day job is in PR, where I help a lot of influencers and models and reality stars just, you know, get famous and stuff like that. And what I've realized through my job of meeting all these people who moved out to Hollywood to make it is that a vast majority of them, I don't know the percentage, let's call it 80% or something like that, move out here to be worshipped. Because they, you know, because you see like people on red carpets, you see people in movies, you see people being interviewed on Jimmy Fallon, you see people getting all those likes on Instagram, and you're like, oh, I want that. And that kind of respect and worship that person gets, that's really why I'm out here for. And if that's why you're out here, I'm not saying it won't work out, but I don't know if you're going to be a good actor, you know, because I don't know if you're going to put the time and effort that is needed to be a good actor or a good writer or whatever you're trying to be out here. Yeah. Because it's grueling. It's, you know, like, and if the people who really do love it, for like a more genuine reason, like if there's something you're getting out of the industry that like you genuinely love or you genuinely see merit in, then, you know, this is the place for you. But if it's just to get that kind of respect and that power, there's other things in your life that you can do more authentically that will get you that, you know, and that people will respect you and kind of worship you for. But now, let's say you go through that process and you're like, no, I love telling movies. I love making movies because telling other people's stories is a really powerful thing and is how we're going to help this world. Or I love doing this because, you know, no one has told my story on film before, and I want to tell that story, right? If you have a reason that's just more genuine than wanting to be worshipped, then screw what everyone else says. That's all you need, in my opinion. You know, so my advice is, if you don't have the right reason, get out of here. If you do have the right reason, stay here. And that's kind of all you need. Like, people will say, you need to go to film school, you need to do that, you need to go to this, you need to do that. And they might be right. And I'm not trying to discredit anyone's advice, but as long as you're super duper passionate about this and there's nothing in the world you'd rather do, this is your home, you know, and you will define what making it is on your own terms. It might be completely different, but you'll find that. But just be really honest, because I feel like most people who come out here aren't, and then they end up being really broke in about 3 years, and they've got no future job opportunities because on paper they've been unemployed for 3 years, and they hate all the work it takes to get big over here. And in Hollywood, if you're my age, if you're 30, you know, that's ancient. You're so goddamn old if you're 30. That's like being 75, I feel, in Hollywood. I don't know, like when I'm auditioning, if I auditioned for just a couple lines in a TV show not too long ago, and one of the people who was auditioning against me was like clearly like 16 years old. And I was like, oh, kid, man, you got like such a beautiful life ahead. Like, you know, this is great. I feel so like ancient compared to you. So yeah, just know why you're doing it, and if you're here for the right reasons, then be a bull in a china shop. Just keep going. If you're here for the wrong reasons, then find anything else. Find anything. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Interesting. You got me thinking. Yeah, it is very deep what you said. Yeah. But it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to be real with you. I mean, you need to be honest with yourself. I mean, you can't lie to yourself if you're choosing one thing just for fame or money. I mean, money. I mean, if you want money, you can work for whatever you want. You know. That doesn't have to be something in particular. Yeah, you need to be honest with yourself. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you want to be famous, you know, hang out at a celebrity hotspot and then like bump into Ben Affleck's car and get in the paparazzi pictures. Go do all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a real thing that people do, and that's a real example that someone I know has tried to do. You know what I mean? Like, if you really want your 15 minutes of fame, that is not hard to get. And so you just need to be real honest about what do you really want out of this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the people who want this for the right reasons are unstoppable. Even if they're not making a ton of cash, every single day is the best day of their life, you know? Every single day is super rewarding, and they're growing, they're contributing, and they're well respected. So it's just about having the right reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I would say drop the mic, but the same thing happened with Molly. I don't have anything near me, but basically drop the mic here, man, because you really... Yeah, you just say like a lot of honesty and a lot of great words. Yeah, I'm basically speechless, but it is true. Yeah, so cool.
Absolutely.
Now, Vikram, thank you so much for being here at the show. It's been really, it's awesome to meet you and awesome to know like about your passion. I mean, I can easily tell that you are truly passionate about this, about the whole acting and everything. That's really inspiring. I mean, those who are tuning in, also thank you so much for watching. I mean, make sure that you're following this guy, because this guy is truly a rock star. And also those who are listening to this later on the podcast or on the YouTube video later, also make sure that you're following him. Make sure that you're checking all of his projects, because I mean, dude, you are truly an amazing guy, and I can't wait to see more of your awesome work. Now, before I let you go, you know what I'm gonna do. So here we go. Oh crap! There you go.
You guys have been great. I'll see you next week.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
wonderful. Best of luck with this show. You're doing amazing work. You know, I'll be sure to remind my friends that this awesome podcast exists, and hopefully they tune in as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Have a good one. Have a good evening. Also, thank you for those who are watching. Have a good one, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one then.
Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.